Hello, everyone. We have now arrived at the practical aspect of this training. And so, today, being the first practical class, we want to look at how you prepare your CV document from scratch. So, we'll be looking at formatting the documents, and then from there, we go through the step by step process of creating your CV from start to finish. So, what you're looking at on the screen is a blank Word document, right? So, we want to prepare this document as the foundation where we are going to create our CV. Okay, so the first thing you do, I would recommend you do when you open a blank Word document like this is to go to the header section to make sure that it's empty, that you don't type anything there. Also for the footer section. And the reason is that applicant tracking systems cannot read anything that is written or embedded in your footer and header sections. So to do this, just double click on the upper hand side. Okay, so this shows you the segment of the uh, document that is allocated as the header. If you scroll down to the bottom, you also see the footer section. Okay, so now you know the area where it is. Just click here and it goes off. Okay, so make sure we are not typing anything in the header and the footer section. The next thing is to make sure that we are working with the right margins. Okay, your margins should not be too big and it should not be also too narrow to ensure that the software can read everything that is written in the document. Okay, so I want to select the, the margin I'll be working with on this particular document. Okay, so it's under layout. If you go to margins, I'll recommend you use the moderate setting. Okay, because it's fine, it's roughly around 1 inch. But for those of you that want to create a custom margin, that's also fine, but just ensure that the margins that you provide for the four corners of the document are around 1 inch. Okay, so now we've selected the right margin. The next thing is we need to choose the font type we'll be working with. Okay, so we recommend traditional font types, things like the Calibri, the Times New Roman are fine. Okay, you can also use Arial. Arial is okay. But the idea is that you don't use some of these fancy looking font types, or maybe you installed some new font types from Google and you want to use it to make your documents fine. Please don't do that because applicant tracking systems, they can't read such font types. So for this document, we'll be working with Calibri. Calibri is fine. Then we need to consider the font size also. But before we do that, we need to plan the outline of our document. Okay, so what you do when you want to create your CV is you first of all take pen and paper, plan the outline of your document. What sections do you want to include? What information do you want to include? You write a brief description of them on a paper so that you know what to start with and what sections to include. So I've done a little bit of the background work. So I would want to provide the different sections that we included in this particular CV. So the first thing you have normally is your name, and we are going to be writing the different sections in capitals. So your name is usually supposed to be on top of the document. Then after your name and contact information, we usually have a profile statement. Then I would want to include an accomplishment section in this particular document. Then the next thing that comes naturally is your professional experience, or what some of you would call your work experience. After that, you should include your education or educational history. Then you can include some skills. For this one, I would want to include professional trainings that I've attended and also some conferences that I feel would catch the eye of the employer. Then, of course, my professional membership should be there. And then finally, I'll present my referees. Okay, so these are the major sections that we're going to be working with on this document. We've laid them out. So the next thing you want to do is you want to provide a body section. Under each of them, you provide the body part. And for the sections that require subheading, then you can also provide that. We do this in small letters. So the body part under your name would be where you provide your contact information. Profile, there should be a body part also. Accomplishments, the same. Then professional experience. Under professional experience, we need a subheading because you need to provide the positions that you've occupied before you go into the details of what you did. So after the subheadings will come the body. So for education, we'll have a body part also. So this is skills. This is the body part of it also. Scroll down a little bit. Then under your professional trainings, there should be a body part. Professional membership. That's the section we should have here. Professional membership. And then body part. Sorry, this should be in small letters. And then your referees also the same. So what this does, it helps you catch any errors on the onset. You look at them properly and make sure that the spellings are right so that you get everything right from the onset. Okay, so this is the basic layout of the document we want to be preparing. And now we want to distinguish the different text for the sections, the subheadings, and the body so that they stand out and the document will have a unique flow when it's finally completed. So I want to make the major sections, I want to make them bold, right? So I hold down my control key on the computer and then I start selecting the different sections. This is skills. Scroll down a little bit. And professional trainings and conferences, professional membership and brevities. These are the major sections, so I can make them bold. I can also give them a higher font size to make them stand out a little bit from the rest of the document. So I can give them a size 12. Okay, so the name should be a little bit bolder or bigger than the rest of the documents to make it stand out at the top of the document. So I've decided to make the font size for the name in this document a size 24. Okay. So then again, the subheading, we want to make it bold. We also want to make it the same size with the section heading. So the difference now, the distinction between the section heading and the subheadings would be that the section is in capitals while the subheading is not. Okay, so this is the basic layout of the document that we are going to be working with. The basic layout, the foundation has been set. So for today's class, let's work on your name to make it stand out and then provide the contact information. So usually you'd want to center your name, put it at the center of the document. And the correct format for you to provide your name, it has to be your first name first, then your surname. If you have a middle name, you can include it. Please put your first name first and then your last name because most computers are designed to read your name that way. For those of you that put your surname first before the first name, you may confuse the software in understanding the particular order. So this is the way it should be. Then here is where we provide your address, phone number, and email address. So the address I'll use here is number 7 Hospital Road, Oluyole Extension Estate, Ibadan, Oyo State. So we need to pay very close attention to typos in this particular section of the document because any mistakes here can throw off, can throw the recruiter off and make them see you in a bad light. So after you're done typing this, please read through again to make sure that there are no mistakes. Then after that's done, you can go below it and provide your phone number. Okay, so we use the separator for to distinguish between the phone number and the email address that I want to provide for this document. Okay, so some of you do this, they give the address a kind of a heading, and they do the same with the phone number also, something like this. That's fine, you can do that, but applicant tracking systems are designed to mostly look for your name and contact information at the topmost side of your CV. So Writing it this way is no problem. The software will still be able to fish out the information it needs. Then another little tip here is that you don't want too much space between your address and the other contact information. So if we select these two, we can reduce the spacing between them to make them look like they belong together. So if you select line spacing here, I can say remove paragraph. So the two of them come together. All right, so we look at this, it's properly done. So we are done with the name and the contact information for this particular CV. All right, so that would be the class for today. We want to keep these videos short. In the next class, we'll look at the profile statement and how you can craft one that would immediately catch the eye of a recruiter. So don't forget to save the document. I'm going to save it in the folder for this training. So I have CV Edge training. So let me give you the name test CV. I'll save it in a compatible mode from Word 97 to 2003. That's fine. It's something similar to DocX. If you have the DocX option in the Word, the version of Word you're using, please use that. It's also fine. So this is saved. Okay, so that's basically how you lay the background work for your CV. We'll take it up from here. For each class, we'll go through developing the different sections so you can see how a CV is built from start to finish. Okay, that's all for it. That's it for today. I'll see you guys in the next class. Cheers.